I want to know, what is your relationship with your mother? For years I resented my mother, but I thought that I loved my mother because I felt that emotion for her. You know how you feel about mama. When you think about mama, you want to cry or run out to buy a gift, or you feel sorry for mama when you think about mama. And so I had all that when I would think about my mother, and I thought that that was love for her. But as I got older and started to examine myself, I realized that I had resentment toward her. And because I had that resentment, I couldn't really appreciate my mother in the way that we should appreciate our parents. God said that if we would honor our parents, if we love our parents, our days would be long. We would live a long life, and we would live a healthy and wealthy life if you honor your parents. And so I thought that I was loving my mother because I felt this emotional love for her. I realized later, as I got older, that I couldn't really be honest with her. I couldn't stand up to her. I couldn't treat her the way a son would treat a mother. And so once I started to examine myself and realized I had this resentment for her, and I went to her to apologize for resenting her, then God cleared my heart of that resentment I had, and He caused me to love her in the right way. Everything I felt about my mother changed. I no longer had that emotional feeling for her anymore, but I had a great compassion for my mother, because I could then realize that it was nice that she had gone through 9 months of pregnancy with me, and that she didn't abort me, and she had me. She didn't have to do all that. A lot of mothers don't have children now. They kill them in the womb, right? And then I can appreciate the fact that my mother had 9 kids. 9 kids, right? And I could appreciate what she had gone through. So when I stopped hating her, I saw her, there was a little space between the two of us now, and I saw my mother as a woman who has done the best that she could do. She loved me the best that she could love me. And so we became friends. Like, it was almost like I became a father to my mother, because I saw her as a young lady that needed a man to guide her. And so I started to correct her in the right way. For the first time in my life, I started sending my mother money to help her out, because prior to that, I didn't send my mother a dime, not one dime, because I had this resentment for her. But I didn't know it was resentment, but I didn't have that love that would cause me to want to help her out and see her in the right way. And so when I forgave her, we became friends. Whenever she would have issues with my brothers and sisters, she would call me to ask me to help deal with them. And she had never done that before. And so I learned to have the proper love for my mother, and that way I can honor her in the right way, not by force, but by choice. When I did things for her, it was because I wanted to do it, and I can see when to do it, not because of guilt and feeling like I had to do something for my mother. A lot of adults, a lot of kids and adults are doing things for their mothers by force and not by choice. They're doing it out of guilt. They are doing it out of hate and not love. They don't really love their mothers, and that's why they are not blessed. But they don't know that they don't love her. They think that they love her. And I'll have to tell you, over the last 19 years or so, when I speak across the country and I point to what mothers have done to their children, 9 times out of 10, 90% of the audience would agree with me that they hate their mothers, they are controlled by their mothers. Even when their mothers are dead, they still feel a sense of obligation to her. They have to go to the grave site and fall on bended knees and just really take care of mama, even in the grave. They become like their mothers. And so they think that they're honoring their mothers, but they're not. If you have any resentment in your heart at all, it is impossible to honor your mother. I spoke to an audience yesterday of almost 1,000 people. And out of that audience, 90% of them, old and young, and this was a predominantly white audience. This is not just a black thing. When they came in line to shake my hand or get some materials, they confessed that they hated their mothers. And they said that they never really realized that they resented her because no one had ever broken down what resentment is and what it does to you and how it obligates you to mama. You know, I noticed on Mama's Day, it is a major day. Mama's Day is greater than Jesus' Day. It is. Have you noticed that?
Yes, sir.
You haven't noticed that, Wayne? No, Mama Day is greater than Jesus' Day. They have flowers the Mexicans are selling flowers on every corner. And it's like holiday, it's dress up day, it's meal day, it's everything. They don't do all that for Jesus.
Don't do it for Father's Day, that's for sure.
They don't do it for fathers either. Right. Mama's Day is God's day. and anybody disagree with that? Isn't Mama's Day God's day? Doesn't this feel like a holiday? It feels like a major holiday today, doesn't it? Does it not feel like a holiday to anybody?
Not to me.
Not to you? That's because you don't like your mama.
No, he had nothing to do with it.
No, I'm kidding.
Pushing him a little bit.
But it feels like a major holiday. Like you want to go out shopping on Friday or Saturday and get ready for this day.
That's true.
That's because mama is God. You hear the basketball players, the rappers, they can call you, women, all kind of B's and H, and then they get an award, and what they do, they thank mama.
Well, when you were raised as a kid, though, the moms, or black moms, basically ran the household.
Yeah, and that's a problem. But what it is, when you resent them, you don't see that they're really doing the best that they can do. And so you attach yourself to her out of guilt, and God will not honor that. He will not bless that. He will honor it when you can see and then stop resenting your mother so you can love her in the right way. If you don't speak up to her, if you don't correct her when she's wrong, you don't love her. If you don't, to take care, we're supposed to take care of our parents, but without the guilt, without feeling like you have to do it. It's something that you naturally do once you can do it. But a lot of people are doing it out of guilt, and that's not love. And mama is okay with that too. She doesn't care how you come and bring it. Just bring it. She's not going to say, well, son or daughter, you're doing this out of guilt. She's there with open hand. But God wants us to honor our parents. He wants us to be grateful that our mothers gave us life by enduring 9 months of pregnancy. But most people are not. And I want you to examine that. My mother expired about, 3 or 4 years ago now, I guess, maybe a little longer. But God blessed me. He kept her alive long enough for me to get over my resentment and really have a right relationship with her. And I'm glad that he did, because I talk to a lot of people who resent their mothers, and once they expire, it's hard for them to get over that guilt because mama is not around to go to her and let it go. So I recommend that you be honest about what you feel and let it go so that you can love your parents and have a healthy and good life. Because when you resent your parents, I don't care how much money you spend on them, I don't care how you take care of them, when you resent them, you're still not blessed. Because you're doing it with the wrong spirit. You're doing it out of guilt. You're doing it out of force. And there is a different way to deal with mama.